I got the invitation to go on this Armed Lutheran radio show, though. You know this guy? Have you seen this? There's two things that I would like to say that make me feel safe. Number one, the fact that there is a radio show called the Armed Lutheran Podcast somewhere in the world. That makes me feel safer.
Pistols, prayer, and potluck. This is Armed Lutheran Radio.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Armed Lutheran Radio, a show about guns, hunting, competitive shooting, the natural right of self-defense, and what God's Word says about the issues surrounding gun rights and gun ownership. I am your host, Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran. This is episode number 383. Thank you so much for being a part of Armed Lutheran Radio again this week, for making it a part of your life, for listening and tuning in again. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. If you are new to the show, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. I hope you enjoy what you hear, because today is going to be a fun episode. What we are doing, not that the other episodes are not fun, don't get me wrong. The other episodes are hilarious and great. They're fantastic. But today is a little bit different in that it is I believe this makes our, this is our 8th annual. I had to count for a second there because I was thinking for some reason I was off by a year. I was thinking for some reason it was our 9th, but it's not. It is our 8th annual Christmas gift list episode. And what that means is it's basically a variety show. For those of you who are familiar with the variety show format, where we have content coming to us from all of our contributors, Mia Anstein, Sergeant Bill Sylvia, and Pastor John Bennett. The difference being the topic. This year, what we're going to be doing, and we talk about each year in our Christmas gift list episodes, I asked the contributors to come up with some ideas for gun-related gifts for the listeners, for the gun enthusiast in your life. This year, a little bit different. I have asked our contributors to come up with one idea. And it doesn't have to be gun-related. It doesn't have to be a gun. It doesn't have to be gun-related. It can be hunting. It can be gear. It can be clothing. It could be, something tangential related to shooting, the shooting sports. It could be a book. Whatever. One gift idea, something that they have in mind, either that they want themselves. I really was looking for something that they already have maybe in the last year purchased for themselves or been given as a gift for themselves that made a difference in their lives, that they really appreciated, that made a big difference in whatever way. So that's the difference in this year's episode. One idea from each of our contributors, one idea that they have hopefully personal experience with that's made a difference for them. So we'll be hearing from Mia Anstein, Sergeant Bill Sylvia, and Pastor John Bennett here in just a few moments. Before I do that, I do want to thank the members of the Reformation Gun Club, the men and women who make this show possible. Armed Lutheran Radio is listener-funded, and that means that we have no advertising, we have no sponsors. We rely on the awesome men and women like the ones that I'm going to name here in a moment, the members of the Reformation Gun Club, who through their annual contributions make this show possible. People like David from Kennesaw, Georgia, Michael from Janesville, Minnesota, Michael from Bel Air, Maryland, Kenneth from Sugar Land, Texas, Kevin from Marion, Iowa, Kurt from Rialto, California, Robert from Elk River, Minnesota, Dan from South Lyon, Michigan, Mark from Tulare, California, and our newest member, Donald from Berthoud, Colorado. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you to all the members of the Reformation Gun Club who, over the years, have made this show possible. Like I said, we are not supported by advertising on this show. These good people and many others make this show possible, help us pay the bills, and keep the show going. If you would like to find out more about becoming a Gun Club member, if you would like to show your support, if you would like to take advantage of some of the cool benefits like access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, including, by the way, a long version of Pastor Bennett's segment from today's show that will be available for members later. Full-length episodes, exclusive members-only episodes, like I said, hundreds of hours of content on the website, plus cool Armed Lutheran swag and invitations to our monthly online hangouts, the next of which, by the way, is coming up. Let me look. It's coming up this Friday. That would be, well, not this Friday. I'm sorry. It's coming up Friday, December 1st. That's going to be the first Friday after Thanksgiving. We'll be getting together and talking about our Thanksgiving traditions and how Thanksgiving went for everybody. And, of course, sharing adult beverage suggestions. So tune in for that. That'll be December 1st. And if you're not a member yet, go ahead and sign up so that you can be a part of that show. And if you'd like to see what those shows are like, go back and check our previous episodes. You can get the audio on the website, or you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch the video and see the faces of the awesome people who make this show possible. So check that all out. You can go find out all the benefits and all the membership tiers. They start at $15.17 a year and go all the way up to $15.17 a month. And those are available at reformationgunclub.com, or you can go to the website, armedlutheran.us, and look for the Reformation Gun Club links in the menu there. Or look for links in the show notes for this or any of our previous episodes. We would love for you to come and join us. Okay, before I turn this over to the awesome contributors and we get this show on the road, as they say, there are a couple of housekeeping things I wanted to mention. If you're interested in signed copies of the books, Duty to Defend is sold out. If you would like to buy a signed copy of either of my fiction books, An Executioner's Tale or The Fifth Command, those are still available at the website, armedlutheran.us/books. The Fifth Command, I wanted to mention, is we're working on a sequel, and that's probably coming early next year. I have, like I said, that was a fun book to write. It is a fantasy fiction where the main characters are based on, very loosely based on the members, the cast members of your favorite podcast, but it is set in a fantasy world, but it tells and teaches great biblical truths. Specifically, or most importantly, most central to that, to the storyline, is the fifth commandment, the command not just that we should not murder, but also that we should defend and protect our neighbors, and thus the name of the book, The Fifth Command. Check it out at armedlutheran.us/books. Get a signed copy today, or you can get an electronic copy. The EPUB version is also downloadable from the website, or you can get the Kindle version or a printed version from Amazon as well. So check that out and look for a sequel in the coming months. Speaking of Duty to Defend, check out the Metaloid channel on YouTube. That's Metal Lloyd. That is my kind of musical side endeavor. Did a song this past week, or released a video, a lyric video on that channel. It's called Duty to Defend, and it's based on the book. So check that out, and be sure to like and subscribe to the Armed Lutheran and the Metaloid channel as well. We would love to have you do that and get notifications about future content. Let me look at. mentioning Thanksgiving coming up, I think what we're going to be doing is, I don't think we may or may not have a show this week. It depends on how busy Pastor Bennett is this week. We might do a post-Thanksgiving show next week. It may just be me. We'll see how that goes. December is going to be absolutely nuts. Just so you know, there's so much going on in December with Advent kicking off on December 3rd. So that means Advent services for Pastor Bennett. And December is the kickoff of volleyball season for my daughter. So we have volleyball our first 2 volleyball tournaments in December. We have, what else? We have a middle school choir concert, and all of that good stuff is coming up in December. And of course, we've got our Christmas show and our Christmas Eve show, the specials that we do every year. So December is going to be a little shaky. We'll see how it goes. I may have to get some guests in here to fill in some spots, because I suspect that everybody's going to be running crazy trying to figure out what they're doing, running around like chickens with our heads cut off. So December may be a little hit or miss. We will definitely have our our December online hangout before Christmas. It will probably be, I'm going to guess, probably the 15th. Then again, I'll talk to the members in the December 1st hangout, which will be our November hangout, and we'll schedule it. It might be the last weekend of December, right before New Year's. That might not be a great thing. We'll just see. We'll have to see. Who knows? It's going to be a crazy and fun December. But whatever. This is our last episode before Black Friday, and this is what we do every year. We do our Christmas gift list episode, where we give you some ideas and some suggestions for gifts that you might give to your loved ones, to your friends, the gun enthusiasts, the hunters, the competitive shooters in your life. And so stick around, because we've got great content coming your way. Mia Anstein is up first with her ideas. To all of you, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Have a fantastic week. We will talk to you again next time after Thanksgiving, next Sunday, for episode 384. Until then, keep shooting, keep praying. We'll talk to you next time. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Time now for Mia's Motivations with Mia Anstein.
Hey, hi, hello guys. I'm so happy to be visiting with you once again. And once again, we're here for the Christmas gift idea episode. And Lloyd really kind of threw a curveball at me this time, because he said to find the one favorite item that we might suggest as a gift idea. And narrowing it down to one is always challenging, because quite honestly, I'm not really a big gift giver. And I'm grateful when I receive gifts, but I never have something in mind to ask for a gift. And recently on my podcast, on the Mac Outdoors Show, I put just a slathering of gift ideas, because I just thought it may be able to give inspiration to people who are trying to think of something for someone who's hard to shop for. But anyways, let's talk about what I narrowed it down to. This is an item that I actually came across at SHOT Show last year in January. And it's an item that just really excited me. And there's not a lot that excites me, because it seems like generally when we find new products, it's an old product that just has some kind of tweak or adjustment to make it more marketable, and nothing that's completely innovative. And this one, the man that owns the company, he is just an outstanding young gentleman. And he was a paramedic. He worked in the medical field, and he had this idea based on the instant casts. And I don't know if you ever think about this, but if you have an idea and you're like, how could I come up with this game-changing thing that I could patent? He did it. And what it is, I will just cut to the chase. It's called Core. KOR, and it's the O with the little 2 dots above it. I don't know what that's called. Maybe y'all can let me know. But Core Technic, and that's TECHNIK. And you can go to their website, KORTECHNIK.com, and check this out. But he makes some cases as well. But what I was impressed with was this insert for your gun case. And I particularly liked it for rifle cases, like for my Pelican case. It is this device or product that you set in there. It just looks like a giant pillow with maybe like rhino lining type, like thick membrane wrapped around it. And there's pellets inside. And I think of like phloem, maybe like your kids have phloem, those little squishy beads. It has this inside of it, this foamy stuff. It isn't phloem, but it's foam inside of there, these pellets. And what you do is you put the pad in your rifle case, and then you can put your rifle in there, maybe your shooting sticks, your magazine. If you have a scope that's not attached, you could stick that in there. And then you put it all on the pad, you kind of settle it in, and then you pump the air out of this pillow, and it forms around whatever you have in there. And so I can switch out, and I could have my 270 rifle in there. I can put the suppressor beside it so that it fits in there, and I can get it all lined up in there. The membrane that wraps around the pillow, it has somewhat of a grip. Like I said, I compare it to rhino lining. It is a shielding type of stuff that helps grip to whatever you have in there so that it's not slopping around and sliding around inside your gun case. And then for my next hunt, I can pull the rifle and the suppressor out, and then I can put my bow in there, and I can do the same thing. I allow the air into the membrane and then put my bow on it and then suck the air out, and it forms around my bow without damaging the bow or the sight or anything else. And so this was just, to me, is a game changer because I don't have to have a case for every single thing. And I know if you've been in the gun area very long, you've got some cases that are designed for your specific handgun, some that are designed for your specific rifle, and so forth. And then you've got pluck foam. Like that was a big thing. Like we'll just pluck around whatever we have. And to me, honestly, pluck foam was never exciting or cool. Like that was annoying to have to pluck this out and make it fit my rifle. So it's something that I really think you should check out. On their website, they say that this is technology that's superior to other packaging materials. It definitely is. It's the customization and adaptability that I was so impressed with. Infinite reusability, they say, ultimate protection. And obviously, all of that is important to all of us. And so it's something that if I only had to choose one thing, because I have rifles, I have slings, I have different things, that would be the one thing that I got this year that is a game changer, because there is another thing that I got, but haven't shared it yet. And I don't know that everybody could have it because it's not legal in all of the states. So, thinking about that one and whether I'll share that with you all in the future or if I'll keep it to myself. Let me know. Do you all think that any high capacity firearms would be a good gift? I think you'd have to definitely check in with whoever your recipient is and see what their thoughts are or their needs. And sometimes it's not really even about our needs. Sometimes it's just something that the gift that I received, it was something I've wanted since I was a little tiny girl, like since I was 7 years old. And finally got that this year for my birthday, and I'm super stoked about it. It's very cool. So I hope you will go check that out. That is, like I said, to me, that core case was a complete game changer. And the one I have is for a rifle case, and definitely something that you might want to look into. I do have videos of that in my reels from months ago. I'll have to add some new fresh videos out there for you to see. But as always, the ultimate gift is spend time with your loved ones. Make sure you share the Lord with them and help them have a good, wonderful life. Have a great one. Talk to you next time. Bye, guys.
You can read more from Mia, watch her YouTube videos, or check out her podcast, Mac Outdoors with Mia and Leah, at miaanstein.com. Time now for another Ballistic Minute with Sergeant Bill Sylvia.
Hey everybody, I'm Sergeant Bill. We're not going to do Ballistic Minute this week. This week we're going to say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And I'm going to give you a couple ideas for the shooter in your family. Gifts that you can get them that they would really enjoy. First of all, if you want to get a big purchase, buy them a gun. Something that is a good price and something they really want and something they can actually use. Now, one of the guns I bought this year, and I did a review on earlier this year, was the PSA Dagger. I really like that PSA Dagger because the price is right on it, even if you buy a completed upper and a completed lower and assemble them, or if you buy the completed gun from PSA, which is Palmetto State Armory, by the way. It's based on a Gen 3 Glock 19, so it's very familiar, very similar. It has some key changes. The grip's a little bit rounder feeling than the Glock grip, which is what a lot of people complain about, that the Glock grip is square. And it has a different style trigger. It has a hinged, flatter, wider trigger shoe, which is really nice. And it has a pretty good trigger pull. So it takes Glock magazines or Magpul magazines. It also takes Gen 3 Glock parts internally. Most of them you can get them with optic cuts for different optics. I got mine for an RMR type cut and a threaded barrel, which I'm not going to probably put a can on it or anything like that, but I could screw a comp onto it. It's just nice to have, and it usually ups the price of guns that you buy, but this Palmetto State Dagger is pretty cheap with all those really nice features. The next gift idea that I've got is a lot cheaper. It's an Uplula mag loader. Now, you can get this at most gun shops. It's a device that's used to load magazines. It makes it a lot easier. You're not going to get that sore thumb or have the magazine pressing, cutting your thumbs, which can happen sometimes when you load magazines a lot if you shoot a lot. They're usually good, decent prices in the $30, $40, $50 range. They're fast to load and they're easy to load, which makes loading magazines and going to the range a lot easier and a lot more fun. And my last gift idea is always a good shooter's gift idea: practice ammo. Especially if you can buy it in a pretty decent quantity, a couple hundred rounds up to 1,000 rounds or more. Find a good gun shop, find a big box store that has a sale, and buy some practice ammo in whatever caliber that they have guns in. And it's a great gift. It's something you can shoot, you can have fun, you can get better at shooting, and it's not that expensive. Okay, those are the 3 gift ideas I have for the shooter in your life for Christmas. I again want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you got. Enjoy it. Share some time with your family and friends, and just enjoy the wonderful Christmas season. God bless. I'm Sergeant Bill. This has been sort of a Ballistic Minute.
Sergeant Bill Sylvia is a veteran of the Dallas Police Force and a masterclass competitive shooter. You can check out his YouTube videos at armedlutheran.us/Sergeant Bill. It's time for Pastoral Pontifications with Pastor John Bennett.
So for this year's wish list episode, I really don't have a whole lot gun-related that I'm interested in at this point. I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but right now I'm at a point where there's nothing that really has that gotta have it factor for me. If I were to put anything on that list in that regard, I've been very much intrigued by, I don't know if this is, I think this is how you say it, the Filster Enigma. That brand's got more consonants in it than a Polish surname, and no offense to anyone who's Polish. I actually am part Polish, just a little bit. But that's one thing that I've been looking at. You know, I pocket carry because it's the most comfortable for me. It's very quick access, and unless you know that I carry, you really wouldn't notice it. The holster that I use, it's the Alabama holster, pocket holster. It is fantastic. It's Kydex, forms well to the gun. It doesn't print very much at all. And I carry a SIG P365 in that. Fits great. I've got the higher magazine, or the 12 round, I think it is. And it fits perfect. And it suits my needs. And I shoot relatively decent with that particular setup, especially after putting on a set of True Glow night sights. Love that little gun. If you are looking for a carry gun, that one is absolutely fantastic. I know there's a lot of choices out there, but for me, it doesn't get much better than that SIG P365. But there's times where I've thought about carrying something that's a little bit closer to that mid-size, full-size handgun. And so that Filster Enigma, I'm really intrigued by the design. It's modular. There's a lot you could do with it, but what can I say? I'm a cheapskate, and it's not the cheapest setup out there. Yes, there's things that are a lot more expensive, but there's also things that are a lot less expensive. And right now, without it really having that gotta have it factor, the price tag's zero because I don't need anything at the moment. Aside from that, I'd love to get an AR lower parts kit and a decent upper. I've got a receiver lying around that I'd love to build, but there really isn't anything on my list, to be honest. Now, the things that really are intriguing me at this moment, about a month ago or so, my microphone started going haywire. And I use this microphone for recording segments for the podcast, or when we're doing the online hangouts, or Lloyd and I are recording a Clinging to God and Gun segment together. I also use it for recording for a local radio station. In the past, I had to go down to their studio to record a 20-minute segment for Sunday mornings. I do that a couple times a year. And it's a necessity for me at this point. I never thought I'd say this, but for me to have a decent microphone setup. Well, I found out after ordering an XLR interface, hoping that would solve the issue before buying another microphone, that there was a firmware update. If you've got the Samsung Q2U microphone, it's a very popular microphone because it sounds great and it's not terribly expensive. I mean, there's microphones out there. You could spend $1,000 easily for a microphone. Lewitt has one that's like $3,500 for a studio mic. It's insane. So I wanted to stick with this microphone and found out that, hey, there's a firmware update for it. Fixed a lot of problems. Now it seems to be working great. But that started me down a rabbit hole that I'm still halfway through. Haven't quite found my way out yet. I started looking a lot more at the studio audio equipment, microphones, interfaces, and all that kind of stuff. And since I figured we do have a number of members of our audience that are also interested in podcasting and being YouTube content creators and so forth, that perhaps some of this would be interesting to you as well. And for me, I am a best bang for the buck kind of guy. Like I said, I'm a cheapskate. Now that doesn't mean I want something that's cheap in quality, of course. I want something that's high quality, but is really a low budget price point. And after doing a great deal of research, I wanted to share some of these items with you. The first one, this is the interface that it's coming hopefully this next week. It's the Fi-Fine Amplitank SC1. And it's, I think Fi-Fine has one other one. Fi-Fine, they're relatively new. They've been around maybe 5-7 years, something like that. And they make budget audio equipment. And the reviews, after watching dozens of reviews, literally hours of various reviews, the sound quality on this one was practically indistinguishable from a Focusrite Scarlett. That's kind of the go-to these days, unless you're spending oodles of money, you're running a professional recording studio, and you've got to have the best of the best. But I don't have to have the best of the best, and the sound of this particular interface is right there with some of the higher dollar ones. Right now, it's going for $47 on Amazon. Normal price is like $55, compared to a Focusrite Scarlett. The cheapest ones out there right now is $90 for the old version. And the new version, that's the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. The new one is right around $140 for the newest version. Now, the downside to this particular interface is, like the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, it only has one microphone input. So in the future, if I ever am in the need for something that has a dual microphone input, if you remember quite some time ago, I did that interview with Hisham Shahab, and I didn't have a decent setup at all, and the audio quality wasn't the greatest. If I'm ever in that sort of situation where I want to do a live interview with somebody to record for the podcast or what have you, then I have a couple more that I'm looking at right now. And yes, the offerings from Focusrite are decent. There's nothing bad I can say about them other than they're more than I'm willing to pay, because, again, remember, cheapskate here. But two that I'm looking at in particular, one is by Evo Audio, and it's the Evo 4. And if you're looking to spend a little bit more, this one's only like $130. It's still not that much. It's got two mic inputs, and those are XLR inputs. You could alternatively do an instrument input as well if you've got a guitar with, your quarter-inch hookup jack. And this particular one, it has a couple neat features. It's got some EQ presets. It's got software on the computer side that interfaces with it, but it has an audio gain setting. So you push a button for the audio gain, you push the input, and as you talk into it, it'll automatically adjust your gain before you record so that you don't have to worry about it. The price on that one's like $130, the Evo 4. The other one that I'm looking at, the company is sometimes held in high regard, sometimes not, but M Audio has their airline of inputs and these USB XLR interfaces. And they have their entry level is like $80 for the airline. Really nice input. Really nice interface, I should say. And it's the next step up from that. It's like $130, $140, right in that price point. The $192.6, and it's an excellent input. All the reviews on this are positive. You've got the gear whores out there that they don't want anything unless it's like the top name brands and so forth. So yeah, they're going to kind of poo-poo it. But again, the sound quality right there with your most popular interfaces out there, that Focusrite Scarlett line. So that's another option for you. And if you're looking at getting into that, that pro audio side of studio recording, you can't go wrong with those. Now, you may be asking, why bother with these audio interfaces? And the answer is simple, that the sound quality, right now I'm recording through the USB interface on this Samson Q2U microphone. And if you watch any of the reviews, the sound quality through the XLR is so much crisper. It's just a much richer tone to it. And for me, I want to get into a higher quality recording sound. And so hence the reason I've purchased this interface, and I'm going to be doing some comparisons for myself. If anybody wants those, let me know. Maybe I'll throw them on Facebook in the Fans of Armed Lutheran radio page. Well, that's what I have for this year's wish list episode. As we prepare for the holiday season, a busy time of year. It's good to remember the word holiday, it's derived from holy day. And these holidays that we celebrate, yes, Thanksgiving, that's of secular origin, but at the same time, it's a time to rejoice and give thanks to God for all that we have. But we've got the celebration of our Lord's birth. We've got Epiphany coming up. We've got New Year's Day, which, if you weren't aware, is a festival in the church year. It's the circumcision and naming of Jesus. And these are some of the holy days we have coming up in the holiday season. It's good to remember that the reason for our existence and the hope for salvation lies in Christ, who entered into this world to be born of the Virgin Mary, to suffer and die for us, and to conquer death in his resurrection, that we too should live forever with him in his kingdom. Blessings to you all. Have a very blessed Thanksgiving and a blessed Christmas season.
John Bennett is the pastor at St. John's Lutheran Church in Willow Creek, Minnesota. For more information, visit stjohnswillowcreek.org. For show notes, be sure to visit our website at www.armedlutheran.us. Check out the Facebook page, The Armed Lutheran, or join our Facebook group, Fans of Armed Lutheran Radio. If you like what you hear, please leave us a comment on our feedback page at armedlutheran.us/feedback or a review on iTunes and let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to Armed Lutheran Radio, a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.